Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Blind Spots, a sub-series of Hard Ticket, where me and a couple other guys try to figure out what would you call this?
We're trying to figure out if a movie that we have never seen, that one of us has never seen before,
Right.
specifically me in this episode, is this movie a blind spot?
I am Jeffrey Bogus, as usual, but not always. I am here for this episode, and I'm joined by Tristan, my regular co-host, so it's a pretty familiar dynamic for all you listeners out there.
It is.
But this is actually the first time it's just been the two of us doing this show together.
That's
which is
true.
exciting.
Yeah. What happened to the other guy?
Who, Josh?
Yeah, the other guy? Where's he at?
Well, after our National Treasure episode last time, he kind of disappeared, and we'd had a little bit to drink, but you telling me you hadn't seen him?
No, I don't know where Josh is. So we're playing a bit here. We're doing a bit here because the episode is on The Hangover.
Yes.
And one of the only things I know about The Hangover, Jeff, and we're going to get into it, I'm sure.
Of course.
Is that they have a friend named Doug who goes missing. They lose Doug. So now we're pretending like Josh is our Doug.
It's always great when you explain the bit for longer than you actually do the bit.
See, I'm actually having to explain the bit to myself a little bit. Because,
That's true.
Because I'm a little bit like a cast adrift.
Because you're a little bit.
Because I am a little bit.
Just a little bit,
I'm
guys.
a tiny bit, and I've never seen The Hangover before.
Yeah.
And so we're here to discuss, is The Hangover a blind spot?
Tristan, your blind spots are kind of the hardest ones to find
Yes.
a lot of the time. I mean, mine are easy. There's like 10 of mine for every one of yours.
You have
is.
Literally Titanic blind spots.
That's what we were going to do.
Yeah.
The last like 2 times we did one of these.
But if we just kept doing, because we could just continue doing episodes about you, because we could do that for the next year probably, and then fill in your blind spots.
That's probably an exaggeration.
But for me, I mean, I've seen more movies than you, but I've also seen more, I think, popular films than you.
Yeah.
I've made an effort over the past couple of years to actually fill in my blind spots, whereas you are just sort of taking them as they come, and now you're making content out of them.
Well, yeah, I'm conserving a lot of them for the show, although The Hangover is one for once a movie I have seen
Yes.
that you have not. This is big, folks. This doesn't often happen. Now, The Hangover, I think, is probably contentious as a blind spot, and I think the last few episodes we've done, we've never done a big like Titanic or Saving Private Ryan, where I think most people would say definitively that is a blind spot.
Oh, sure, yeah.
These are on the periphery. I think they're in that sweet spot where a lot of people have seen them, and you are bound to catch that phrase, "What? You like movies and you've never seen this?" But it's not necessarily a guarantee.
It's not a guarantee, but I will say, this is compared to something like you proposed an episode on Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid for me.
Yes.
I've never seen it. You've seen it. There's a film festival named after it. So surely it's a blind spot. But I think, you ask 99 people on the street, the 100th person has probably seen it. The other people are just like, whatever.
Oh, Butch Cassidy?
Butch Cassidy, yeah.
Oh, I think a lot of people have seen Butch Cassidy.
I don't know anybody. Maybe it's a demographic thing. I don't know anybody like our age besides you. Probably
and
Josh and Jake. I mean, some cinephiles have seen it. That's the thing. The Hangover is not like a cinephile movie. It is it was a popular film that came out in 2009.
I think so.
No,
2008. Right?
2008?
Yeah, because another thing you know about The Hangover is the scene that plays in Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie.
Yeah.
Which here's a sound clip of that scene.
I just wish your friends were as mature as you.
They are mature, actually. You just have to get to know them better.
Paging Dr. Faggot! Dr. Faggot!
You should go.
That's a good idea, Dr. Faggot.
So yeah, The Hangover is more of a broad sort of audience film than a cinephile film. This is one of those movies where the casual film fans in my life, the Hyatts, nobody knows who that is except for people who are friends with us. The Hyatts of our life, who are just they're friends of ours. They do like movies, but they're not as into movies as we are. They're like, oh, you haven't seen The Hangover?
Right.
Everybody saw The Hangover. That was a big thing. It had a trilogy, I think, right?
Yeah, there's
this
a
is
trilogy.
a saga.
Yeah, I think this is a lot of people's entry point to Zach Galifianakis, probably.
Okay.
I think so. You know who is in this movie, right?
Okay, so yes, I came prepared. Not only am I nursing a hangover
not
from
supposed
last
to.
night, but I also
Tristan is the hangover of the episode.
I did come prepared with things I know about the hangover. Okay.
Let's hear him.
My first thing is actually a question. I wrote released in 2008 or 2009.
Pretty sure it's 08.
I'm pretty sure it's 08 because of that scene from Nirvana, the show, the band, the movie, which is such a fun thing to say. But I thought that the last time I had checked the letterbox page, it said 2009. So I don't know. I'm either misremembering or I'm not.
Well,
Isn't that an interesting dichotomy?
comment down below if Tristan is misremembering or not.
By now, I know. So don't comment down below. I know this film is directed by Todd Phillips.
A prestige director.
He's the director of Joker. The
Did
Joker.
you practice how to say that just awkwardly enough?
Yeah, director of Joker and Joker 2, Folly Ado.
Yeah.
I assume he directed all three of the Hangover films. Don't
believe
tell me.
so.
Don't tell me if I'm wrong. I don't want to know.
I don't know. I'm not.
Okay.
Okay.
I know this film stars Zach Galifianakis.
Yes.
He's the famous guy from Between Two Ferns.
Uh-huh.
Ed Helms,
Yeah,
America's Sweetheart.
America's Sweetheart.
Bradley Cooper, Bardley.
Yeah.
And then I know it has Riley from National Treasure. I don't know the guy's name, but I know he's Doug.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the guy's name. Do you
Okay.
know? Do you happen to know the actor's name?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I just know him as Riley from National Treasure. Now that I've seen that movie.
I think based off of the scene that's shown in Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, I think the mom from Diary of a Wimpy Kid is in this movie.
Who is that?
Susan Heffley.
I
mom.
don't really.
She wears glasses.
You know, I've never seen the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie.
Oh, dude, you love
That's a blind
movies.
spot.
But you've read it, surely.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I grew up with those books.
Okay, well, I think the mom from it is in there, and I think she talks to Ed Helms because I
Okay.
think that's her in that scene. That's either her or Tina Fey. I can't tell.
I don't think it's Tina Fey.
Okay, so I know the scene, obviously from the movie that we were just talking about. So I can surmise that the film has some humor that has not aged very well, very gracefully, which will be interesting to watch. And then, okay, here's another thing that I've heard about The Hangover. There's a giraffe in a car, and they drive underneath a bridge, and it decapitates the giraffe. Now, I don't know if it's this movie or if it's in one of the later Hangovers.
That's not this movie.
Okay. I said I didn't want to know.
Oh, sorry.
I want to find out. So those are the things that I think I know about The Hangover.
Okay.
And then I've also made a series of predictions about The Hangover.
Give them to me.
So I would have thought that the film would begin with the titular hangover. Like the guys would all wake up. They've had like a crazy night. I assume that this is a bachelor party movie. I assume that this is Doug's bachelor party. That he's the one who goes missing. He's the groom to be. And it's a big deal that he's gone missing because he's the little guy and he's and he's going to get married.
Uh-huh.
So those are my predictions. But based off of the scene that I saw from Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, which has Ed Helms talking to possibly Susan Heffley from Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Yeah.
He's like talking to her, and I think he says something like, "Oh, don't worry, he's mature," and blah blah blah. And then I think it's Bradley Cooper's voice who does the paging, that thing. So based off that, maybe there's a more conventional setup here.
Oh, you think?
Instead of beginning with the hangover itself. Maybe there's a conventional setup where it's like Ed Helms is like this. I think he's a doctor. He's a responsible doctor. No, don't tell me. These are my predictions.
No, I'm just thinking. I'm just remembering out loud.
Okay.
Hmm.
I'm assuming that he is a doctor. He's a responsible doctor. He's a good job. He's being harangued by Bradley Cooper, who's sort of a shit stirrer. And they're like, come on, you got to like let loose a little bit. You're too straight laced. We got to celebrate Doug's impending, end of his bachelordom or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he is like immature. He stirs up a bunch of shit. He's the reason that things go completely off the rails eventually. I think Zach Galifianakis is there. I think he's cool. I think he's a cool guy. I think he wears sunglasses. I think he is maybe a pothead, or he gets a lot of women, or both.
Okay.
And then I think Doug is a little guy, and I think he's kind of weird and dorky, or he's normal. He's very normal.
All right.
He has like no definable traits except for that he ends up going missing. And so
Okay.
they have to rescue him. He's like the MacGuffin of the film.
Right. That would mean he would be absent for most of it. Is that what you
Yes.
think?
I would think so.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I think that all will happen. That'll be like the first act, and then they'll get up to the hangover or they'll get up to like the night that leads to the hangover. It'll be like a montage of a bunch of shit, like flashes of what has been happening, or maybe just a straight cut to black, and they all wake up in like a hotel room or something.
But you say you thought it started with the hangover. Right?
Well, I would have thought it would.
You don't
have,
believe that anymore.
But now, based off the scene I saw from Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, I'm thinking that scene comes at the beginning of the film probably, and it's either a conventional opening or it is a flashback.
Like a record scratch kind of thing, or
It could be.
okay.
Sort of like the film begins with they're trying to get Ed Helms to come out with them for their last night. You know, it's like a boys' night kind of thing.
Oh,
I assume these guys are like college friends.
wait, you think that Ed Helms scene happens like that's the first scene or something?
No, not the first scene, but like towards the beginning of the
Okay.
film. Yeah. As we're like getting introduced to the characters.
Yeah.
So those are my predictions for the film. I think, you know, strippers will probably be involved. I think they will lose Doug's engagement ring. And I
So
think
they lose Doug and his engagement ring, or like they lose
Yeah.
it because it's attached to him.
no, they lose his ring separately. Or maybe they find his ring and they're like, "Oh my god, we found his ring, but where's Doug?" So it's like a video game kind of thing. Like they
Like you collect pieces.
Yeah,
and that
they have
kind
to
of
piece
thing.
Doug back together. He's like their Humpty Dumpty.
Yeah.
I think Zach Galifianakis will fall in love with a woman during this film.
Okay.
I must be really off the mark right now.
Oh no. I think it's I won't say anything.
Arc for the film is Ed Helms. He's too straight-laced. He's a doctor. He's too responsible. His friends drag him out for this irresponsible night. He wakes up. He's lost his friend. He's done crazy shit. He's probably in hot water with Susan Heffley, mom from Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And he blows up on Bradley Cooper. He's like, "I had a good life. I'm the only one who has got my shit together." And
So you think he's the one with the arc, Ed Helms?
yeah, I think Ed
Okay.
Helms has the arc.
So that would make him what, like the main character? Then?
I would assume Ed Helms is the main character.
You think Ed Helms is the main character of this movie?
I don't know, Jeff. I think he might be. Yeah, this is my prediction for the film.
Okay, all
It's
right.
either him or Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So okay.
And then Ed Helms blows up on Bradley Cooper, and then eventually he realizes that he's been too much of an asshole. He's been too straight-laced. He's been too hard on his friends who were just trying to relive the glory days. Bradley Cooper takes responsibility for being a shit stirrer. They all make up. They find Doug, and he gets married.
And they kiss. Yeah.
My prediction for the end of this film is that it ends in a marriage.
That's a good prediction.
So that is what I am anticipating is going to happen
Okay.
in The Hangover, bit coming from someone who has never actually seen it.
All right. That is interesting to listen and hear what you got right, what you didn't get right. There is stuff because I watched this movie a few years ago.
Okay.
I didn't like grow up with it. I didn't watch it when I was like a teenager, which I think is probably when I would have appreciated it the most.
Yes.
There are things in there that I didn't realize came from this movie. I think the cultural legacy it's had has been interesting. Like, you remember that ad that Regal Cinemas used to play before the movie where everybody's reciting movie lines?
Yeah.
There's a line from The Hangover in that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, do you know which one it is?
No.
I won't spoil it for you, but you're going to recognize it and you're going to be like, oh, that's where that's from.
Okay.
So
I assume it's not the Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie.
they don't say that in the Regal ad,
The
do
Regal
they?
Can you imagine like the Nicole Kidman AMC ad? We come to this place for magic, and she sits down to watch. It's The Hangover. It's that scene from The Hangover.
Yeah. So I have opinions about The Hangover, but I don't want to influence your viewing experience. Or
You already have, Jeff, because you've been public to me about how much you hate The Hangover.
I don't hate The Hangover.
The hate-over
That
is
is
what you
not
call
that is
it.
not true.
How
But
much
I
you
have
despise this film.
I have refrained from telling you details about this movie because
That's
I
true.
knew we were going to cover it eventually for this podcast.
Yeah.
And maybe my tastes have changed since 2024.
It's been a long 2 years.
Yeah, it really has. But
Yeah, it actually has. Well, and here's the thing too. Like, and it's something we repeat, or at least I repeat in every Blind Spots episode I'm in. The quality of the film doesn't necessarily dictate if something is a blind spot.
Yeah.
There are lots of like classic undeniably blind spot type films that people aren't going to like. They're not going to resonate with. And there are also films like The Hangover that are classics for a lot of people, but then might be in poor taste or haven't aged very well.
Right.
So, while I do think quality and the blind spot status can go hand in hand very often, they're not necessarily the same.
Yeah, they're bedfellows, but they take breaks every now and then.
I do think quality helps something get to the blind spot status. Like, obviously, no one's like, well, you haven't seen, what's a bad movie? Morbius? Yeah,
because of like the meme status of Morbius.
Like, kind of like the whole thing about Morbius is that nobody actually did go see it. Like, they re-released it in theaters because they thought it was so popular because of all the memes, and no one went and saw it. So it's like, oh, you don't want to miss Morbius. It's a blind spot. And it's like, no, that's kind of the whole joke about it. So I do think they're, bedfellows, like you're saying, but they're not the same. So it'll be interesting to see if we both end up disliking this film, how that's going to impact the final assessment here. Is this an actual blind spot? I don't know.
I keep an open mind. I know that my taste isn't everybody's taste. You did Signs with Josh. I don't consider Signs to be a blind spot, and Josh really didn't either, but you're adamant today that it is. And we've met some people who are pretty adamant about that as well. So I'm keeping an open mind. I think because we're doing these movies that are sort of on the cusp, like it's fair enough to go either way. But like if we said something like Saving Private Ryan wasn't a blind spot, that would probably be heresy.
Yeah.
But we didn't do that episode because we did it for Hard Ticket.
Yes.
Anyway, we're going to get back to the blind spots now. We're going to go upstairs. We're recording in my basement. Going to go upstairs, watch The Hangover, decide definitively whether or not it is a blind spot, and return with our assessment. Tristan, are you excited?
I'm mildly excited. Yeah, I could say that.
All right. Well, folks listening at home, it'll pass in just a moment for you, but for us, we will return with the knowledge of the cinematic gods. So stay tuned. Our boys are out for a night they're going to remember for the rest of their lives. Or are they? When our unrepentant bastards wake up after a night of drinking and drugs, they don't remember what's happened to them and have to track down their buddy Doug to get him to his wedding on time. Clock's ticking. Did I miss anything? You got about, I'd say, 75% of the plot synopsis right.
I did pretty well.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like through cultural osmosis, like maybe I'd kind of like heard some of this before and just sort of internalized it. But I mean, genuinely, when I was making my predictions, I was like, I don't really know, except for that they have to find Doug.
You could be like completely off base, but you weren't.
No.
You did great.
Well, it's like also some like basic screenwriting rules, I think. I was off in saying that Ed Helms would be the main character, although I do think he is sort of the emotional core.
You were right
film.
in the sense that he had the arc.
Yeah.
He's really the only one with an arc. But there wasn't really a blowout between him and Bradley Cooper where he says, "You're an asshole," and he's like, "I'm right."
Yes.
No, Bradley Cooper's just an asshole the whole time.
He's sort of like Rocket Raccoon, but without the tear at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. It's just like, yeah, unrepentant asshole. No, none of these characters are really likable.
That's a big problem I have with this movie. But
the most likable, I guess, would be Ed Helms. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to hear your thoughts coming hot off the presses of The Hangover.
I can kind of see why this was popular at the time. It is going for like a lot of like the OMG, like this is so crazy that this happened. Like the shock humor of it all. The racism of it all. Just like casual, like it's edgy. It's just a joke, dude. What, you can't take it? Like, it feels very of its time. I tend to think of like the 2000s, the Bush era, especially, just like this like cultural black hole, just like everything that comes from that era to me. I mean, not everything, but like especially pop culture stuff is just like, it's just awful. It felt, I don't know. I don't know. I just get like a gross feeling when I think about it. And The Hangover kind of epitomizes that. Like I felt kind of just like, I was not that entertained, and I was mostly just like, what am I doing? What are we doing here? Why am I watching The Hangover? Like,
Dude, but the premise of The Hangover is gold.
the premise is pretty good.
It's a mystery. You piece it together. I think everybody who's ever gotten drunk and has seen a movie has thought this about like a plot. You got to piece together what happened the day after. Like,
Oh yeah,
it's like an odyssey.
Like the best part of the movie for me was the end credits where they're like actually going through the slideshow, like pictures of what happened. I kind of expected it to be a little bit more of that. Ideally, what you want is for this odyssey, this journey, to reveal something about your characters. But like as soon as they wake up, Bradley Cooper just gets into a cop car and like turns on the lights and like runs onto the sidewalk. Like he does reckless shit even when he's sober. So it's like you want your characters to have changed somehow. Like it has to reveal something.
Yeah.
And there's nothing there. I can't think for certain, but I feel like I have heard of a story or watched a movie where someone was accused of a crime that they don't remember committing, but they for sure did do it. And that was like an interesting like philosophical dilemma. Like, can you be damned for something you don't even remember doing?
Lost Highway.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So there's precedent there to kind of go into like, I mean, I'm not expecting The Hangover to get philosophical, but like something like there needs to be something there.
It's like the equivalent of what happens in Stegus, Vase and Stegus. But because, they even say it at the beginning, you got your Jeffrey Tambor, and he's talking to Doug, and he's like, hey, Vegas, whatever happens.
Herpes.
Doug's like, and he's like, yeah. And then he says, except for herpes. I felt,
yeah, it's so funny. No, I guess that's like the ethos of the film is like everything that happens, it's going to be self-contained, except for that Ed Helms is going to come back and he's going to break up with Susan Heffley, the mom from Diary.
Yeah, you got that one. You got that one right. So I will say, like, the whole premise of like having to take accountability for your actions and stuff, like these characters get their noses rubbed in it a little bit. Definitely. Yeah, they get tased by Rob Riggle, which I forgot about. Alan particularly gets slugged a bunch. He gets punched by Mike Tyson. He gets like, he gets his head slammed in the door of the car. Like,
I mean, I feel like he is like, I mean, he's not the most blameless, actually. He is the one who roofied them.
He's the most to blame.
He actually is the most to blame. Although it's so weird because he's just like an idiot. Like,
he's a doof. He's a dope.
He's a
doof. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's all these things.
He's all these things. And I feel like instead of making him so naive and kind of like infantile, they should have like given him a little bit more they should have let Bradley Cooper be the one who roofies them on accident, because he's such an asshole that would be more in character for him, and he'd have to pay for that throughout the story.
The thing you got wrong the most was Zach Galifianakis' character in this. And you missed the Regal opening line where he says, it's not a man purse, it's a satchel.
That completely like I do not remember that line from the Regal thing. Why is that like such a
man,
I don't get it.
I don't know.
It's just funny for people, I guess.
But like, there's some. I remember the first time I watched this movie, I watched it on an airplane, and I was thinking to myself, like, this is not like a low or mid-budget comedy. This is a big studio comedy. They're shooting in Vegas. They got nice cars. There's a tiger. They're doing weird filmmaking stuff where, like, when Ed Helms wakes up, it's like a reverse POV where you just have the camera. It's like a chest rig on him.
Yeah.
That externalizes how he's feeling. That stuff's cool. There's. You know what, dude? This movie's a little bit better than I remembered it.
Oh, damn.
Oh, I know, right? Wow. Because I like some of the line deliveries. I did have a couple.
You loved his line deliveries, right?
I have a big problem with his line deliveries, actually, but because the movie's racist and sexist and homophobic and all the things that were hip in 2009 when it came out, I suppose, or were edgy, I guess is a better way of saying it. Yeah. But I'm not saying like, I bet there's a lot of defenders of The Hangover will be like, well, it's a different time. And if you want to come down on The Hangover, you just hate, like, you're just part of cancel culture, like you just want to, squeaky clean, sanitize everything. You can't handle a few offensive words. And it's like,
no. I mean, I was laughing at, I mean, like I laughed at the stuff in here that is anachronistic. Like the stuff that felt like it hadn't aged well, that stuff still makes me laugh. It's not so much laughing at the joke or laughing with the joke. It's laughing, I guess, at it. Like,
well,
this was so wrong-headed in a way.
I know you watched iCarly when it was coming out.
Oh, God, yeah.
The original iCarly, and jokes in that were literally just random dancing. Like, it was non sequiturs. That was the joke. What's the shelf life on that? You know, like even if it wasn't offensive to say half the shit they said in this movie, like I wouldn't have laughed at it now having seen it or the first time I watched it, because it's like, it's not smart. It's just vulgar and crass. And the biggest problem is none of the characters are likable. None of them, man, except for Ed Helms a little bit, but but they're all awful.
Heather Graham, you kind of feel sorry for her. You feel
Yes.
sorry that she kind of got roped into marrying Ed Helms. And, well, I mean, she wanted to, but like, it's clear that he thinks very poorly of her.
Oh, yeah, because
throughout most of
she
the
has
film.
sex with men for money. And that's the movie takes a pretty prime stance on, ew, ew, that's gross. Like, no, I mean, it's not a nuanced movie.
No. What, are you saying this movie is not like sex positive? And
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, this movie is just like, I mean, you're right. Like, it does kind of fit into that random like humor thing that popped up. I don't like, when does that pop up? Like early 2010s, late 2000s. You get that. I think there was a Disney Channel show that was literally called "That's So Random."
Yeah. Oh, it's all about like, oh, a character pronounces a word silly.
Yeah.
That's the joke.
Yeah.
That it's a silly pronunciation.
Which can be funny. Like, I think there is still value in some of that stuff, but the way it manifests here is, this random kind of shocking thing happens.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of feels like almost like in the Jackass vein of humor. And, you know, I think I get like why there was an audience for that, like in the 2000s. Obviously, tastes have shifted since then. I don't really hear people talk about The Hangover as much anymore, even though like it occasionally does come up and people were surprised I hadn't seen it.
Oh, it comes. Yeah. I mean, because if you bring it up, so many people have seen it. Oh, wow, you've never seen this. Like I have garnered that, or when I hadn't seen it, I garnered that reaction.
Yeah.
And people say, oh, the two other Hangover movies, those are crap.
They
But the first one holds up. I've heard people say that.
Yeah. Well, you and Josh were talking while we were watching the movie, and you were saying something along the lines of, or I guess Josh was, that like the second and third movies, which you haven't seen also, like they have more of like a character arc for the people.
I don't know.
Let's assume they do, and Josh was like, well, that's why people don't really like them.
I guess that's the only reason why you can have more after this one, is because nobody except for Ed Helms really grows as a character. And at the end, they're still laughing about it.
They're
too.
still laughing about it, yeah.
Yeah.
I know they got away with it basically scot-free.
Yeah, because they're just being boys. They're just boys. Like, this is a very boyish movie. I called it a bro movie when we put it on at the beginning because it's so broy, man.
Well, there's maybe something to be said about, Bradley Cooper. He is basically the one, I think he gets off the easiest in this film.
Yeah.
Zach Galifianakis does get hurt a fair bit. He gets tased and hits his head, and people make fun of him all the time. Poor Riley. It's just Doug. Riley from National Treasure.
Yeah.
Doug is just like, he gets sunburnt. He does have to like apologize to his bride and all this stuff. And then there's Ed Helms, who actually has an arc and everything and changes. So, it's like, okay, well, what do they do during their night? I mean, mostly they just drink a lot, hung out with some strippers. They did steal a tiger from Mike Tyson. He got it back. They stole a cop car. The police got revenge by tasing them. I mean, like, they do, I guess, like, pay for what they do. It's not like they killed anybody, right? Like, it's not like they did something that's just so beyond the pale. Like, it's not like they're unforgivable characters. They're just like, it's not fun for me to watch them do what they're doing as much as it would be, I guess, if I were younger and kind of more in that like mindset, like the party mindset, to actually live it. I'm just like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When it comes out, 2009.
Yeah.
If it came out today, there's other things that would happen. First of all, it wouldn't be a crisp 90 minutes. It'd be over 2 hours, probably. I think Josh said that when we were watching it.
This is 100 minutes.
It's 100 minutes.
It's 100
Oh,
minutes.
see, that's still too much.
Yeah.
But second, like, your characters, would have to be so unlikable that the majority of the movie is just them getting their shit rocked as consequences for their actions.
Yeah.
Now that's an interesting movie. Or you give them arcs, or you just make it like a scene by scene gag movie, like a Monty Python or something like that, like a screwball kind of thing. But this movie is caught in the middle of all those things. There is an arc for one character.
Yes.
There are
punishments for another. There's another character who's just sort of reveling in it. Yeah, it can't like pick a lane, which I guess that probably just diversifies the appeal of the story. Like you're watching this, when we started the film, you asked me, you're like, okay, who are you?
Who are you?
Who are you? Like, who are
movie?
you
Yeah.
relating to? And I was like, I mean, not that I relate to Ed Helms, but I was like, he's the only one who has like any sort of sensitivity and
Yeah.
seems to like be like, oh my God, guys, like we got to do, and he's neurotic. And I kind of relate to that. I do relate to that.
Yeah.
Um,
And if I woke up married to Heather Graham, man, like, what's the problem?
but then I feel like there's definitely other people who are going to watch this movie and be like, oh, I'm Bradley Cooper. Like I'm the cool guy who doesn't give a shit and you know, shit rolls off my back like nothing. Or I'm Doug. I'm the guy that they lose. Like I'm the one who gets left behind. Like that poor guy. No one asks that guy's opinion because no one cares about him. Like,
Right.
I feel like, you know, you got all kinds of people who can watch this movie and take something from it. Mostly white guys.
Stupid white boy of the
Yeah.
group are you? Because women are pretty poorly written in this movie. I mean, Ed Helms is trying to get away from his shrill
Oh yeah.
future
She's busting his
ex-fiance.
balls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
she
then
cheated on him and
Doug's fiance is a non-character. She's just, there for the clock to be ticking.
oh yeah.
And
She's the voice in their ear being like, where are you guys at?
Heather Graham is the stripper that you fantasize saving whenever you're like, she's really into me.
Stripper with a heart of gold.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then all the non-white characters.
I mean, they literally call a guy in this Black Doug because
Yeah.
his name is Doug.
but it's funny because he says, whoa, be careful with that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Saved it. Yeah, no, I mean, it's 2009. They make a joke about what, like 9/11 towards the beginning.
I think they say something about like Osama bin Laden. They're like, thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot,
Osama."
Bin Laden. Yeah.
Hey, it was like, what, 2 years before they got him? Ladies and gentlemen, they got him.
Yeah, I guess so. So it does exist in that.
Ooh, we should do a Zero Dark 30 Hangover double feature.
Yeah, what would you pair the Hangover with?
Zero Dark 30.
Okay.
Because it's like one crazy night.
Yeah, it's just such a, because, it's a comedy, right? And you could just say
Yeah.
it's not funny in a bunch of ways. People find this movie funny, and that's why they, I guess, call it a blind spot. I don't, because we got to get into the blind spots conversation, right? That's why we're here. Is The Hangover a blind spot?
Yeah.
I look at what we said about National Treasure, what you said particularly about National Treasure, which was like, for a generation, for a time, everybody saw it, and now people who saw it, they're just going to age out, and the next generation, it probably won't be a blind spot for them.
Sure, yeah.
But then Josh was like, my students voted to watch National Treasure over Moana, which was like, wow, okay, there's still some sort of appeal to that movie. With The Hangover, I feel like it gets by on a lot of jokes with built-in expiration dates, and I think we're well past expiring. So...
But it does kind of circle around into being like shockingly funny in a way. Like I was kind of laughing at Ken Jeong's character in this a little bit.
because he's so over the top.
Because it's so over the
Right.
top. I was like, that is crazy.
He's really, really leaning into that Chinese stereotype.
Yeah.
Like that's just a caricature. Makes me kind of uncomfortable, but a lot of people love that character. And apparently his role increases as the movies persist because he was just such a likable
Gotta
presence
bring him back yeah.
among audiences. Yeah.
Well, he is like central to the plot for a lot of the film, and until it ends up being like a kind of a narrative cul-de-sac, and like
Right.
he is not actually that important. But they do rescue the other Doug.
Oh yeah. That's the thing about a movie like this is like it has to be a bunch of random dead ends, and the mystery aspect of The Hangover is interesting. It's actually interesting.
It is intriguing, yeah. It's just like, oh, he wakes up, he walks to the bathroom. There's a tiger there. They go down to the chauffeur and get their car. It's a police car.
But they follow up on all those things.
They do. Yeah, they follow up on it. It's like that initial shock, and then, but there's also like sort of a deflation of it as it goes along.
Right.
Where I'm like, as the mystery unravels and I find out what they did that one crazy night, I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's pretty crazy.
It was just a series of random things. Married a stripper, stole Mike Tyson's tiger.
Yeah, they stole Mike Tyson's tiger.
Isn't that wild?
That's crazy, man.
Alan pissed in his pool.
Alan. Yeah, he pissed in his pool. I don't know. I'm thinking of like the National Treasure thing and how I was saying that like for a generation, that's what that is. It's a blind spot. But then I'm also thinking my mind, it has to go back to Star Wars always. I think the second highest grossing film of 1977 was Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh, yeah.
After Star Wars, obviously.
Josh and I were just talking about this movie.
Okay. It's probably not a blind spot, but a lot of people saw it in 1977.
Josh's dad really likes that movie, actually.
So Smokey and the Bandit, like, I don't think you and I would probably do like a blind spots episode on that.
No, it is a name that comes up. Like
It's a name. I mean, like people have heard of it. Like it did money. It did well. But I'm saying, like, I think you could argue if you were from that generation, like you were Gen X or whatever, you can be like, oh, you never saw Smokey and the Bandit? It was the biggest movie of 1977 after Star Wars.
Yeah.
So on and so forth. There's something to be said about, too, like the past 20, 30 years, how our culture has been recycling a lot, too. So it kind of feels like our culture is going a little stagnant. I think this is part of like my issue with like 2000s culture is feeling like it's reduxing like 90s culture, but like more crass and like more tasteless. So maybe that's a reason why National Treasure has more staying power, 20 something years on, than Smokey and the Bandit did in like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Well, we saw National Treasure at a theater that was playing it in 2026.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of people in that theater. And it was because the employees of the theater, I got the impression that they chose that to show.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that with The Hangover? Like
I could see it with The Hangover.
Who's like theater employees at an indie theater in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania?
Okay, probably not like an indie theater.
Oh, so like a frat party then.
It would be like
we're going to put The Hangover while we do this fucking keg stand.
There are still showings of The Hangover in America, but I imagine they're much like showings of Birth of a Nation. They're like shrouded in secrecy and like in dark basements.
It's
and
all hush hush.
Yeah, there's guys doing keg stands in the background while they watch
silently.
It. I imagine that's sort of the context, because like this is not a movie that you show in polite company now. Or probably was never a movie you show in polite company, but it had its more like staying power in the popular culture back then.
Sure,
it was more acceptable. And like everybody was saying the F slur and the R slur, and there are multiple jokes about how people say the R slur in this one.
But is The Hangover calling them normal guys? Is it just like, oh, all guys are kind of like this? Because it kind of feels that way.
I think there's a little bit of like boys will be boys in The Hangover, sure. I mean, they are different flavors of boy, and they all kind of meet on this plane of existence in Las Vegas and become one, right? And then they have to kind of piece together all that breaks apart. So I think there is a little bit of like, yeah, this is just how guys are. This is fun. This is a bachelor party. It's a ritual. Like a bachelor party is a ritual that like most people who get married anyway will experience, men anyway.
Yeah, no, we didn't mention actually that after this recording, we are going to a bachelor party.
It's so appropriate.
It really is. And I have to take a detour to go pick up a leg of deer meat that...
And a shoulder too.
Yeah, somebody's dad hunted and caught. And it's
Hyatt, actually, who we name dropped earlier in the episode.
So, that probably, saying that out loud probably makes me sound like a different kind of person than I actually am in real life. But that's what we do in West Virginia for bachelor parties. I
can't even see Jeff right now. He's wearing camo.
I actually do have one camo shirt. It's a size too small for me now. I thought about wearing it.
You know that picture of you with the camo hat? It's like the Carhartt hat.
Yeah.
Redneck Jeff.
Oh, I guess I could wear that.
We should post that on our Instagram so people can see Redneck Jeff.
That doesn't have much to do with The Hangover, but yeah, I guess we could post that. But so I just watched Dazed and Confused with my girlfriend for 4th of July this past 4th, and she wasn't really into it. And a lot of the characters in Dazed and Confused are pretty boyish and immature. I mean, they're high schoolers. They're exaggerated, but they're so accurate at the same time. That movie has such a strikes a delicate balance. And she was like, I think I'm too woke for this, honestly.
Oh, really?
And I was like, I got a little frustrated because I was like, it's not like a love letter to this stuff or anything. It's kind of condemning the characters while Well, it's not though. It's just showing you how they work.
It's a problem with a lot of people, I think, in our generation, like the sort of like the purity culture
Yeah.
of it all. Like mistaking a film portraying something as endorsing it. That's a very common thing.
And that's not what she thought of it necessarily. She just didn't want to see it.
I think a lot of people in our generation do have like a knee jerk reaction. I mean, like you hear, Bradley Cooper yell the F slur at Ed Helms through a window in this movie. And I mean, me in 2026, like growing up, hearing that word when I was like younger, and then like eventually getting to a point where that was like phased out, like people didn't say that anymore. I have like a knee jerk reaction to hearing that now, where it's like, ooh, that's you don't say that. Like that's not a appropriate kind of word. So like I get like the sort of the knee jerk thing, but then there's also a part of me that's like, wow, like it's like funny, like in sort of a shocking way that's still like I'm laughing at the absurdity that this is like still a thing that was acceptable at one point.
But it is all over this movie. I mean, that is the gasoline. That is the DNA that its sense of humor is that thing that we phased out.
Yeah.
I mean,
so maybe it's like a last hurrah.
Well, when you meet a movie where it's at now, like you got to take it with a grain of salt, but it's like, if you were going to make these characters so, I just can't root for them, man. That's my biggest problem with this movie, is that the characters are so unlikable that it makes everything else worse.
Yeah. I don't need characters to be likable to get into a film, but it does feel like these characters are meant to be relatable to us in some ways. And in some ways I do relate to them. I mean, like I said, I relate to Ed Helms being neurotic about everything. I kind of relate to Zach Galifianakis being a little freak, Well, like I don't like you. I don't relate to you, even though the movie is like wanting me to spend so much time with you and is going to all these links to show, oh, we had a crazy, like you're supposed to feel some sort of relatability.
Yeah,
to
you're
it.
supposed to be like, oh yeah.
They didn't know what happened. We don't know what happened. As they piece it together, we piece it together.
But you want to feel a degree removed from them because they're so despicable. So there has to be a point to a dislikability to a character.
They're like ants. Like you kind of want to look at them through a magnifying glass.
You want to burn them.
Yeah. If you're a little psychopath, if you're worse than they are, yeah, you want to burn them. No, I mean, you do want to watch them get their comeuppance, but like at the same time, I guess there is that remove. I think this movie is like kind of interesting because you can watch it. It was something we were talking about while we were watching it. There were people in like Josh's elementary school, because he was born after the towers
After
fell.
the towers fell.
We were born before the towers fell.
Yes.
So there were kids in our middle school who would talk about this movie being like, I watched The Hangover. My parents let me watch The Hangover. Like, so there were kids who were watching this. There were teenagers and like college kids who could watch this and relate to like the drinking and all that. Like, oh, we're going to have like a hangover night. Let's go steal Mike Tyson's tiger. And then I think there are also like kind of older people, especially guys who can watch this, like old fraternity brothers who can watch this and be like, I remember, my bachelor party. I remember the good old days when I used to go crazy, and sort of chuckle knowingly at what they're seeing on screen. And like, there's a part of me too. I mean, like you and I went to WVU. Like we went to a school that was
one of the biggest party schools in the country.
Yeah, heavily steeped in drinking culture. My first time I ever got blacked out was at your 21st birthday party. So like I can relate to some extent to, oh, we did some crazy shit last night. I don't necessarily have super fond memories of, like, there's no, like, my introspection of those moments, like, there's a little bit of good, but then there's also, like, you wake up after a blackout, after a crazy night, and you're mostly, like, panicking. You're like, what happened last night? Like, what? It's a scary thing to lose your memory. And everybody in this is, besides Ed Helms, is pretty just nonchalant about it.
Yeah.
Again, you kind of like expect there to be a little bit more, I don't know, introspection, which is maybe why that's where they take it in the sequels. But clearly there wasn't an appetite for it. I think people just wanted to have fun with it. They just wanted to sort of live vicariously through a couple guys having a crazy night, piece it back together, and get off mostly scot-free.
Yeah, the more story you do with it, like, I just think you got to go further with it if you want it to be like, if these are going to be our characters, you gotta rub their faces in it. You gotta really, really show the consequences. You gotta be like, a lot of people I know have gotten so drunk at least one point in their life that the next day they're like, I'm never gonna drink again.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's
That's not the feeling somebody wants when they watch a movie called The Hangover. But if you look at a hangover as a concept, isn't that sort of the thesis? Like your body is literally rejecting alcohol.
It should have been called like The Bachelor Party, I think, because it is like if this is like not only a last hurrah of we're gonna go one crazy night before Doug gets married and we're all together in Vegas, it's also like a last hurrah of like 2000s culture, like the really edgy jokes and memes. I think it's like the pinnacle of that before it started to I don't know like when exactly that starts falling out of favor, like 2014, 15, 16 probably.
I think so. And that's like the shelf life of this movie. I mean,
yeah, a couple of years.
Like 10 at most.
10 at most.
And then it comes back around when Trump gets elected the first time. But it's like...
Well, I'm not going to say like, if you like The Hangover, you voted for Trump. That is not at all like the vibe you get from the film. Like but it is just a carelessness, a recklessness that we just don't really indulge in nowadays. Maybe for the worse in some ways, and then maybe for the better in others. I don't know.
It's sort of like a purge, yeah. Like you're saying, like because at the end they're like, guys, we look at these photos one time, and then we delete them, and everybody's like, no, we want to keep, we want to remember this forever. But no, they're standing firm. Hey,
I like that.
You can make a mistake. It's okay.
It's okay.
But you got to be accountable for it, not celebrate it.
Well, you can. Listen, I mean, being a human being. Here's my issue. I think the characters are too old.
Really?
I think if they were a little younger, I would have a little bit more leeway in me for like what they're getting up to.
I think that's why they're grasping at it, though, right?
Maybe.
Bradley Cooper's like, I get to do this like once every 2 years if I'm lucky. Like I've got a wife, I got a kid. I don't give a shit about them. I just want to let loose.
That would make sense if they weren't roofied on accident. Like, cause like we don't know what type of night they would have had. They probably would have had a fairly crazy night. But the fact that they were like drugged and that made them even more suggestible to all sorts of dumb behavior. Like Ed Helms literally pulls his tooth out in this film.
Yeah.
He's a dentist. I was wrong about that. He's not a doctor. Was that DDS? Is that the
DDL Drizzy? See, we can.
So, DDL Drizzy. So, you know, if this was like a quote unquote conscious decision to get like completely fucked up, then I can understand like, okay, he's grasping and that's why he had such a crazy night. But the reason they had such a crazy night is just because Zach Galifianakis got sold the wrong drugs.
Oh no, that's why they don't remember the night.
Yeah, well, but yeah, you take roofies, it doesn't just make you forget. It also makes you more suggestible. It makes you more, f***ed up, like intoxicated. I mean, that's part of it.
Yeah, but then immediately when they wake up, they're going back to raising hell,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Bradley Cooper does get into a cop car and turn on its sirens and just is like, I'm going to drive it around and act like it's mine. I don't know. It's strange. I don't hate this movie. I
don't hate this movie either.
I don't think it's particularly good. I can understand its appeal, and I was charmed by some of it to a certain extent. I was. I'm not gonna lie. Ken Jeong is hilarious. No, I actually thought Ken Jeong was pretty funny.
You said he was the most aware of the kind of movie
he seemed like he was aware of it. Yeah, he was like he kept laughing at Zach Galifianakis. He's like, it's funny because he's fat, and I was like, he's sort of like externalizing the dumb people in the audience who are laughing at this movie.
Yeah,
for very superficial reasons. But then I'm also like, is it just superficial? Is it just surface level? Like, is this movie? I'm trying to kind of dig into it a little bit more.
Well, the concept of Vegas, I think there's something there that you could bite into, but I don't think it's something The Hangover is particularly concerned with, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah.
I think this movie is pretty surface level.
Yeah.
I personally do not consider it a blind spot.
Oh, okay.
I don't. I think a lot of people would disagree with me about that.
Is it just because of the quality of it, the shelf life and all that stuff?
I do think it has a shelf life, but I also think that there's a part of me who thinks that if people went back, people who swear by this movie went back and watched it, they might not look at it the same way.
Okay.
I really don't, because it's not culturally we've moved so far past it. I just don't think it's a lasting comedy.
So you're saying that everybody who likes it nowadays, that there's sort of a collective amnesia, a hangover, if you will. Where
That's not what I'm saying, but
everybody
but
watched it and they've sort of forgotten the problematic aspects of it.
it's not even that it's problematic, man. It's just not funny. It's just not a funny movie to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's particularly funny. I mean, humor is so subjective.
I get that, but
It's hard. It can be hard to talk about comedies.
but there's a reason why we still talk about movies like Blazing Saddles or Holy Grail, and they were built to last. I think there's clever comedy that's built to last, and a lot of those movies were looked at like lower entertainment when they came out too. I think there's almost an inversion with The Hangover. Everybody's like, oh, everybody loved it when it came out. It's an instant classic, and we're looking at it almost 20 years later, and is it the classic? I don't think it is, but I don't know what you think.
So you don't think the comedy is it's clever? It's not clever to you? What do you think is the best executed joke in the film?
The best executed joke in the film?
Yeah.
Probably something stupid. Like like a hold on, there was something
There is like a setup payoff with the paging Dr. Effsler joke. Like that there is legitimate setup and a payoff. Like it is structured like an appropriate joke. It's just the payoff is, makes you cringe.
My favorite joke is when Zach Galifianakis gets punched the third time. The fourth time's a little overkill. Comes back around the fifth time.
Well, I will say, like, when he gets hit by the car door, that's actually a payback for hitting the baby earlier in the film. By the way, there's a baby in this film.
There's a baby in the film, yeah.
Which I think I actually did know, but had forgotten about.
Yeah, man. I legitimately don't know what the best joke. I did laugh a couple of times. A couple.
Yeah.
But I don't remember. It was just somebody said something dumb. That's literally it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's a lot of people saying dumb shit in this film.
Tristan, you haven't told me if you think this movie's a blind spot yet.
Yeah, I can. I'm so just like easy when it comes to like the blind spot concept. Like I can see blind spots. I can see Smoking the Bandit being a blind spot, even though I just argue that you probably wouldn't say it's a blind spot.
Well, sure, yeah.
Is The Hangover a blind spot here in the year of our Lord 2026? I think it is on its way out of being a blind spot. I do still think that it is a blind spot. Like at least in our cohort of like our demographic,
our generation.
I think when I run into people who are casual film fans, a lot of them have seen The Hangover, grew up watching it even. It was like a rite of passage for them. It was sort of like a Porky's or like Revenge of the Nerds. It's not like the sex comedy went the way of the dodo, I think, after American Pie, but The Hangover, I think, was another one of those movies that was like, oh, this is crazy. The crazy like drinking culture and all that
There are
stuff.
still every now and then sex comedies that resonate with an audience.
Yeah, that's true. They're just not as they're a little smarter, I think they tend to be.
They're smarter. Well, they cover sexualities that were more taboo.
Yeah, a broader spectrum.
Right, because you've got Booksmart and you got Bottoms. I mean,
Yeah.
those are Gen Z movies right there.
True. Yeah. There are still some sex comedies. Even though Gen Z is very weird about sex.
Right. They're very unsexy sex comedies. It's more about the concept of sex and being afraid of it. Like having an idea of what it is in your head and then reality not matching that expectation. And that is smarter. You're right. You have to be more complex when you're doing that theme.
You have to be, you have to be more subversive. There's not really like any subversiveness to The Hangover. So you have to kind of appreciate like that kind of carefree innocence in a way. It does, like I'm saying, I do feel like it's sort of a last hurrah kind of film. It's coming out of an era that we are quite divorced from nowadays. We may return back to it. I mean, everything's sort of on a cycle. We're kind of in the 90s right now. So I don't know, maybe the 2000s are coming up here. And if they are,
we're taking back the R word.
God help us. Yeah, honestly. No, I mean, it feels like this movie could become more beloved. There might be a resurgence. There may be a resurgence, and that scares me. And I know it scares you because can you imagine if we went to the Midtown Theater in Harrisburg
and it's the same audience reaction as Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie?
But instead of National Treasure, they're playing The Hangover.
They're playing Sound of Freedom.
Sound of Young Washington. By the way, my dad says Young Washington's great.
You hear about the generative AI?
I did. I heard over 100 shots in the movie we used generative AI.
Hey, filmmaking tools in the palm of my hands.
Can you imagine showing George Washington like an AI version of George Washington talking to himself? Can you imagine that? I'm gonna have a hangover just thinking about it. So is this movie a blind spot? I am going to say it's a tentative yes. I almost feel like we should have a sliding scale of blind spot.
Well, you would want that because you're
course I
not an
would.
absolutist.
I'm not an yeah.
You're not a.
Are you an absolutist?
No, but for the purposes of our show, I mean that's kind of the point of hard ticket, right? You got to choose one.
It is
or
a
the other.
hard ticket. That's true. Yeah, not a
Right.
soft ticket.
Not a soft ticket.
That's fair. This is the blind spots, not the nearsighted spots.
Right. Not
Okay.
the stigmatism spots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that? See, I almost feel like that was sort of like me. That was an ableist joke.
Yeah, see, that could be in The Hangover.
That could be in The Hangover.
Yeah, I could have written it. There is that shot where Rob Riggle tases Bradley Cooper in the, or one of the kids tases Bradley Cooper in the nuts.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I yelled, "Oh, right in the nuts!" And then Rob Riggle went, "Oh, right in the nuts!" I'm like, "Holy shit, yeah, man! Yeah, I could have
Yeah.
written that when I was 15. That's great." Now Todd Phillips is making Oscar caliber. Even the Joker. The Joker also had a built-in expiration date, I think, and it expired very quickly. I believe that about the Joker movie.
The Joker was dead before it even came into being. I feel like
Oh
'cause-
no, people loved Joker, man.
No, I mean people loved it, but like the thought pieces about the Joker, like the discourse around it, it totally like killed anything that movie could say or did not say, which was a lot.
End of an era, I guess. Same with The Hangover. You're saying it's a last hurrah. I mean, I think it's okay to look at a director's filmography as sort of an idea of what it is they're saying with their movies. And Joker was just such a nothing burger. Just all of its best parts were directly
Lifted.
taken from
Yeah.
other movies.
True.
You know, Tarantino does stuff like that. You get into that debate of what's stealing, what's copying, blah blah blah. It was empty, and I think The Hangover is. I mean, it's an empty bottle. You drank it all last night.
Oh, it's called a metaphor. Very literary, Jeff. Did Todd Phillips write The Hangover? Do you know?
Hold on, let me check. Todd Phillips did not write The Hangover.
Okay.
Written by John Lucas and Scott Moore. And they wrote on like Wedding Crashers.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's funny because I actually watched Wedding Crashers the same plane trip that I watched The Hangover. And I liked it more. I actually
Okay.
enjoyed Wedding Crashers.
Is it Vince Vaughn?
Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson. Yeah.
Okay, that seems like a fun duo.
Yeah, there's problematic shit in there too, but it's like what? Like that's not the problem. I can't stress enough that that's not the problem with these movies.
No, I don't think so. I have watched The Birth of a Nation. Like and I'm not going to say, oh, I loved it. It was great, but like I was able to appreciate what it was in the context of what it came out. Mostly like the filmmaking. That's what I mean. Obviously, the message of The Birth of a Nation is abhorrent.
You're a big Triumph of the Will fan.
No, but I actually do. I actually kind of like Leni Riefenstahl's Olympia, which ostensibly was meant to be Nazi propaganda and ends up contradicting itself by depicting Jesse Owens like smoking these guys, like running. He was a black guy from America, and he kills it, which is amazing. It's like Leni Riefenstahl was just like, I can't even endorse Nazism in my own film that's supposed to be propaganda because this guy's so amazing at what he's doing.
It just disproves it so much.
Yeah, so like I actually do really like Olympia. I mean, I admire Triumph of the Will, I guess, on a filmmaking scale. I think the editing and stuff is I'm less impressed by it than I am Olympia, honestly. I think Olympia needs to be up in the conversation more.
Well, I'm glad that we've effectively positioned The Hangover along with Triumph of the Will, Birth of a Nation, and also Titanic and Jurassic Park, all the other film blind spots.
I'm telling you, we need a spectrum here. Is The Hangover a blind spot? I'm going to say it's a blind spot. I'm going to say it's more of a blind spot than National Treasure.
Okay.
I'm going to say it's more of a blind spot than Signs.
Definitely, yeah. Actually, I disagree. Well,
National Treasure and Signs have like the exact same amount of fans, reviews.
that was surprising. Actually, Signs had more, I believe.
Signs had a little bit more, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you think National Treasure is a blind spot, Signs is a blind spot. Like
I think National Treasure is a blind spot because of the environment we were in and everybody disproving any like just deflating any argument. Like The Hangover is one that I argue against when people say so.
So if we did go to a frat party, one of those secretive, in the basement frat parties, after they
like
show
a speakeasy frat party.
Sure, after they show The Birth of a Nation on a degraded 70 millimeter print. We watched The Hangover
Yeah.
with a group of guys who are doing keg stands, and they have strippers and all this stuff, and they love it. Are you then inclined to say The Hangover is a blind spot?
Because that sounds like a scenario I would be in, and it sounds like a scenario in which I would value the opinions of the surrounding people.
Oh, so you vetted the people at the Midtown Theater.
At a movie theater who chose to play it for an audience publicly and had the belief that people would come and see it, which they did.
Isn't that confirmation bias, though? Because you also happened to be there. They were like you.
Well, until I have that experience with The Hangover, because there are people
Comment down below.
There are a lot of people I know who really like The Hangover, and there's no argument for it. It's literally just I like it. I think it's funny, and that's at the end of the day, like the stuff that.
That's the argument for National Treasure, I think.
National Treasure can be enjoyed for like the camp aspects of it, the parts that might not necessarily have been intentional, but you can watch and sort of enjoy what they were going for. With The Hangover, it's like the stuff that's not intentional is the knee-jerk stuff now. And we laughed at how poorly a lot of it aged, but I just I don't put these movies in the same category. It is not a blind spot to me.
Okay.
And that's final, bub.
Oh.
Oh, now he called me bub.
No. Someone help. No, I really think we should try to organize one of these Hangover screenings just to see.
Don't forget your cling wrap.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to petition the row house up in Pittsburgh. Secretly. I'm not going to tell you about it.
Hangover trilogy.
I'm going to be like, show the Hangover this weekend. Because I'm going to know, like, it's going to be one of the weekends you come up when we record. And we're just going to be walking by the row house, and they're going to be showing The Hangover and be like, hey, Jeff.
What are the audience rituals in The Hangover? Every time Zach Galifianakis opens his mouth, everybody's like, oh!
It's funny because he's fat. Yeah.
Yeah, you just say it's funny because he's fat every time he talks.
My plan would backfire, though, because I would be like, let's go see The Hangover, see it with an audience, and there will be nobody there because nobody cares anymore.
No,
Except for some, like, dudes with, like, backwards hats.
You might be right. I actually could see people showing up for that. So... I guess it's not so final now, bub. I
can
see people showing up. For the novelty. I'm seeing any movie that's returning to theaters like that. I think,
there's nostalgia there. I think it's a time capsule. I think anything that's a time capsule, especially if there's something that our generation, our culture loves, it's a time capsule.
I guess.
Bub.
I think that's where we're going to have to end it on this episode of The Blind Spot. So we are in disagreement, and that's okay. With a movie like I said, we're kind of talking about movies on the cusp.
It's always okay if we disagree, Jeff. Like, it's never not going to be okay. Like, if we get to Titanic and you're like, it's not a blind spot, I'm going to think you're wrong, bub, but I'm also not going to be like mad about it,
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I would be surprised because that is one. I mean, that's like my biggest one. I think just the discourse around it has made that decision for me, but with something like The Hangover, it is more.
That's true. Yeah, you really don't have a choice with the Titanic. That is a blind spot, 100%. It's like the biggest movie ever.
Well, we'll get to it, and we'll do it in 2 parts, just like this. Hey, that's what we do with this anyway. But thanks everybody for listening to this episode of The Blind Spots. Thank you, Jared Tadlock, for designing our brand elements, keeping our podcast looking fresh. Thank you, Aaron Griffin, for mixing and mastering our theme song, sung by yours truly in a truly awful falsetto. Thank you, Dalton Carney, for composing our ancillary music that we use as actually our intermission theme for The Blind Spots. Next week, Spielberg Summer continues with a matchup we're pretty excited for. We're doing The Lost World Jurassic Park and Jaws 3D. Jurassic Park 3, The Lost D. That's one of my favorite titles we've ever come up with.
I basically approved that matchup because you posed the title, and I was like, that is brilliant.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
But hey, we have a great discussion with Grayson Taylor, longtime friend of the podcast, so you don't want to miss that one. It's a lot of fun. But you can also follow the podcast on Instagram at Blue Sky at Hard Ticket Pod, all lowercase, all one word. You can follow me on Letterboxd at Jeff Blogus, again, all lowercase, all one word. Tristan.
Yeah, follow me on Letterboxd, Tristan Moore. You can see what I ended up rating The Hangover.
What do you rate The Hangover?
I rated it like 1.5 or 2 stars, maybe.
I'd probably rate it 2.
Yeah, 2 is fair. Yeah. That's fair. It's got some decent filmmaking, but I mean, Todd Phillips is a competent director.
He's competent, yeah.
Yeah, we like that about him. So yeah, you can follow me on Letterboxd. You can also follow me Instagram at Tristan __less. email this podcast,
Yes.
ourticketpodcast@gmail.com. Just post some new blind spots. There's some movies that I still haven't seen, like I haven't seen Good Will Hunting. I think that's the biggest one on Letterboxd I haven't seen.
The problem is neither of us have seen
that's
that
true.
one.
Although Josh has. I think Josh will probably
Yes.
lead me through that one. Scarface. I haven't seen The Green Mile. What should we do next for me? And what should we do next for Jeff? Oh, we already know it's going to be Titanic.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. Yeah, but what are some of your biggest blind spots? You can tell us in the comments. You can hop on our Discord server. Just reach out. We're pretty open about letting people on unless you behave like any of the characters in The Hangover. Any of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. Keep up with us. Follow us. And until next time, we will see you guys at the movies.
Hangover, 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 hangover.
It's a hard ticket at the movies. Which one will you watch? Let's decide. It's a hard